Hey everyone, and thank you for joining me on another episode of In the Trenches. As you can see, we're not in the usual studio space. I thought it'd be fun to bring you on the road with me while I'm on tour with Jake Owen all summer long. I've had the pleasure of meeting so many creative people day in and day out that it was only natural for me to want to bring the podcast on the road with me. Today's episode is with Dylan Marlowe's photographer and videographer. Now I do want to remind y'all, please like, share, and subscribe. So let's jump right now into it with Jacob Powers. All right, fellas, we are here for an episode of In the Trenches with Jacob Powers, but this is the first episode we've done on the road, outside of the office. So we're in a different trenches right now, aren't we?
Absolutely, yeah, we're in there.
Jacob, you shoot for Dylan Marlowe, right?
Yes, yeah.
And we're all out here on the Heartbreak on the Map tour
yeah.
with Dan and Shay. I shoot for Jake Owen. And we've been having a blast out here, haven't
awesome.
we?
It's like summer camp.
It's like a big man camp. We keep calling it. You know, we've been So none of Sam shoots for Dan and Shay.
Yes.
You shoot for Dylan, and obviously I just said for Jake. None of us knew each other before we got out here, and we've been hanging hard, haven't we?
Oh yeah, come out here. It's like coming out here, meeting new people.
Yeah,
it opens up to a whole nother world out here.
Sure.
And, I mean, you got to see everybody every day.
And it's fun.
Make friends, you know?
Yeah, we get inspired too.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I see we are all, us three at least, are conversating in between sets, going, yo, what did you get? How did you get it? You know, and kind of like, the light's not good right now, or go stage left, or, you know, I've been enjoying the feedback, and
yeah, it has been fun. It's been, as somebody that's been doing this for not a crazy amount of time in my life, it's been incredible being out here and just like watching how y'all work and like learning from y'all, which I think is the beauty of the road and like what we do even.
Yeah, we're all kind of thrown out here, left to our own devices to make it work,
Just gotta figure it out.
So how long have you been touring, shooting, and doing all that?
So I picked up a camera in high school. My parents got it for me. I was going to Europe, and I was like, I want to take some photos. Like, I want to get out there, see what's going on out there. And absolutely loved it. And then went to college. It kind of sat in a bag in the corner of the room, you know, for the first like year or so of college. Then I had some buddies that were in a band, and they asked me to do some photos for them. And I was like, I'll come out. And went out, did it, fell in love with it. Fell in love with just capturing the moment, figuring it out. Finding it, like it's a little bit addictive almost. You find one and you're like, all right, where's the next one?
It's real easy to get burnt out if you don't have that kind of discipline, I think, to kind of each night set a goal for yourself. You know, like I've been saying to you, like, you know, you're like, sometimes the light when Dylan goes on isn't that great. But then we were like, but you know what happens when you come off stage, when everybody else is on the stage, you've got the entire backstage.
And it's
with Dylan in the most amazing light.
Amazing light,
And you've been taking advantage of that too, right?
It's changed how I view photography in general, even.
Really?
I think, and just like how I look at light, etc. Stuff like that. But had the buddies that were in a band, found that, messaged Dylan on Instagram. I found him on TikTok, I believe.
Really?
Yeah, and messaged him on Instagram. He was playing a show where I was at, and he loved the photos. Waited a couple months, came out for another show in Atlanta.
Okay.
So we're back here today.
Where we are right now.
Came out, did a show at the Tabernacle. He was on the Dylan Scott tour at the time. He loved those, and then about 2 weeks later, he called me. I quit my job at Chick-fil-A, and here we are.
Chick-fil-A?
Yeah.
Wow, do they really train you guys in like a military base? Because, dude, I'm telling you, there's never an issue with Chick-fil-A employees.
Yeah.
You could be through the line and say, you know what, hey, let's order something, let's throw them off. So you probably got a good skill set learning from
Honestly, doing everything there from literally taking orders in the drive-thru all the way to breading chicken in the back. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Left there as a kitchen assistant manager, and I was like, I don't want to go back.
No. What made you hit up Dylan?
I loved his music, and the bar he was playing at was just a bar I knew really well. Like, I shot there a bunch of times, and I was like, I told myself, I remember talking to the person that was managing the shift I was working on that day, and I messaged him that night before, and he messaged back like that. And I remember talking to him about it and being like, this is insane. Like, what? Like, I just found this guy on TikTok, messaged him, and here we are. Like, and he wants me to do the show. Like, this is awesome. But I told myself, if he hadn't responded, I was just going to show up and be like, oh, I'm the house photographer, you know?
Yep.
And just figure it out from there. But luckily he responded, and we've been best friends ever since.
Yeah, you guys have been putting in
awesome.
work. Were you scared out of your mind on the first
Oh my
time?
God, terrified.
Yeah.
It was like the first artist of any level other than my buddies that I had ever worked for or shot for or anything. So it was definitely nerve-wracking going into that. But I feel more comfortable on stage with him than anyone else.
Yeah, of course. Now,
Yeah.
did you at all, like, as a kid, grow up watching music videos, or like
Yes.
now, I guess your age, you were watching like YouTube?
Yeah. YouTube was kind of my generation's world.
Yeah.
And I remember like YouTube, Instagram becoming a thing when I was in like middle school. So it was like everybody's always posting like the just random stuff. I know now it's much more formal, and like Instagram's almost like LinkedIn almost for some people.
Sure.
And they check social medias and stuff when hiring people now. But yeah, grew up in that YouTube world, which I watched some vloggers and stuff growing up, but like I never dug into the video stuff until honestly very recently.
Really?
Like within the past probably year and a half, I've like really dug into video and like trying to figure out storytelling, stuff like that. And it's still a challenge every day.
Storytelling in like concept, or how to take a concept and then put it into visuals?
I think taking a concept and putting it into visuals is the hardest part for me. Like I'll figure out something I want in my head, and I'll have it pictured out, and then I'm like, what's the next step? It's like, where does it go from here? What do I need for that?
Is it overwhelming or daunting to think like, how to shoot a scene or a performance? You can shoot it any number of ways.
Yeah. I think it's definitely overwhelming, but again, I think us talking out here on this and just slowing it down.
There you go.
That changes everything.
Yeah.
Too. Take
You
a step
can
back.
tell when people's
Think
work
about it. Yeah.
is a little bit helter-skeltered, or they're trying to find it, versus the folks that kind of slow the whole train down and really kind of visualize ahead of time what it is you want. And I noticed just from our conversations recently, and then seeing some of your recent photos, you're doing exactly that.
And I was talking to somebody about this the other day. Like I feel much more connected to my work right now than I think I ever have.
Sure.
And I think it's an absolute testament to that, and like slowing down, putting more thought into it instead of just shoot. Okay, where's that? Okay, there it is.
Yes.
Like it's find it, think about it, shoot it, boom, you got it.
And like I was saying too, the reason that the photos have a bit more emotion in it, or you were saying you're more connected to it, is because to slow something down and to shoot it generally means more engagement from you, but also you with your artist.
Yes, absolutely.
And so now there's a memory or a moment or a camaraderie in that photo, where if it was just sniped or whatever, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Now there's something fun to getting a nice snipe moment. I won't live when you're out here. You're not expecting it, or I've been shooting Leicas for the past 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And there's something to that versus the DSLRs, because with the DSLRs you can see what it is you're going to get, but with the Leica, man, I've been noticing shots that I didn't think were cool, or I'm looking at it in the camera and I'm like, this ain't it. But then when I get back to the bus and I'm looking at it on the computer, I'm like, holy shit.
Okay,
I haven't experienced that with any other camera system than with the Leica. It's just like, whoa. So I've been having some fun with that, and that's been a challenge because I know how to work the R5.
Yeah,
like
we
the
were
back
talking
of my
about this
hand.
yesterday. Yeah, like using those DSLRs, those mirrorlesses, it happens so fast. You
I can do
change
anything
everything.
quick at any given time if there's a problem on the stage. But the Leica, again, slowing it down, you're really kind of using your photography knowledge and looking at what it is you're trying to get and saying, am I going to be correct, versus shooting, and adjusting mid-shot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like knowing what you're looking at, knowing where you need to be, knowing your settings where they need to be at. Yes, it's just
Now, did you set out to want to be in the touring world, or is it just a stepping stone into something bigger for you? Or?
So, I mean, when Dylan called me, he was like, "Hey, you want to go to Boston?" And I was like, "I'm there." He called me on like a Tuesday. We left that like Wednesday night.
That's normal.
I drove from Georgia and hopped in, and touring it's been my gateway into music, into the music world, into capturing photography, etc., videos. That's been my gateway into it, and I absolutely love it. This has been on my mind recently, but what direction do I want to take it?
Sure.
Like, do I want to maybe go into directing, something of that sort? I don't know. Figuring it out. So, yeah.
There's a lot of avenues to go. I do know, like even me, I don't jump on full tours as much anymore. I'm enjoying it, and I probably will in the future. But the interesting thing that I'm noticing is that I'm shooting all the video on an iPhone and pretty much all the photo on a Leica systems. And I really am, a lot of my guests are content creators, and up until this tour, I haven't shot video and photo at the same time. I usually just shoot photo on tours, and I have my objective. Some will ask, why now?
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of hard to imagine yourself out here for a full tour and not give your client video assets.
Absolutely.
So even me, I'm accepting the fact that is a staple now that we have to provide.
It really is, and it's something that's come into the I guess social media coming into our world, and what's the word for it? I guess
infiltrating.
Infiltrating is a great word. Yeah, that's a good one. Yes.
Jake and I deal with this every single week. We're like, I don't know, we keep getting heard, the vertical, and,
That's a constant struggle, too.
Yeah,
vertical versus
he and I are right now kind of creating more on the horizon side, but I am seeing the woes and the pain of content creators where you're out, and I always knew you're splitting your emphasis, so something is going to kind of be dampened, and one thing I will say to a lot of content creators on the road, you have to shoot more video to get quality moments of video than you do photo. Therefore, going into every day or every whatever, you're almost kind of going, okay, is today going to be an 80-20, an 80% video, 20% photo? Because if you go into a day trying to shoot 30% video, you just aren't going to get
You're not going to get anything you want or need, or anything quality that you can use.
Quality. And that's what I have noticed and kind of been struggling with a bit.
Yeah.
I know there's a dope moment about to come up. I would love to get this on a Leica cue right now, but my God, I need to get this also for the video. So, do you deal with that?
Absolutely, every day. It's a balance that I'm still working on. And I mean, Dylan and I, we talk about it every day and just like figuring out the balance of that. And I think I'm at a very weird point right now, being mid-tour, and we haven't really put out a lot of video from this tour yet on Dylan's side. I'm not sure how I feel about it, because I want to be doing more of that, but it's like, I know my photo work is much better than my video work right now, which is, it's frustrating because it's like there's something that's producing a good result, and I know it's going to work. I know I can capture it, and I know I can make it just good.
So are you creating video clips to show them then?
Yes.
Like, yo, this is awesome, or hey, I maybe need to improve, or what we can do more. The same communication you're having with your photo, and the reason it's translating, you got to do the same thing with your video.
And I think what we've been talking about too, we're taking a video is a moving photo. That's all it is. Finding those four corners, finding that frame, and then putting him in it.
Yes.
And again, coming back to slowing down, doing that, figuring out my moments.
It's very easy when you get into the video land to be, like, I use the helter skelter. You're just like, there it is, there it is, there it is. Okay, cool, there it is. But then when you get into the edit, you're like, dude, sit in the moment, bro.
That's where I struggle.
Sit in there, hold on it, or give it a little English to it, but don't be like a DP on Adderall.
Absolutely.
What would be your biggest challenge? What's one of your biggest learning, experiences from being on the road? Do you have anything that you're like, holy shit? It could be creative, but it can also be,
I would say outside of creative stuff, just like life experience. I don't know. I feel like I've grown up a lot over the past few years. I think that is also a testament to the people around me, and Dylan and our crew, Screech, etc. Like we have a great crew of guys, and that all want to be here and want to be better and want to keep doing this for the rest of our lives.
I can see that.
So I think that and figuring out the mentals of all this has been, I think, what I've gained the most from the road. Yeah. Like figuring out how to make this sustainable.
How to make it
a
business.
Yeah,
not
absolutely.
Just, a lot of times you come out here and it is fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can go play pickleball or whatever in the hell we go do for the day.
Yeah.
But then there's just like, if you're not putting up the scores, you ain't going to be asked back.
Absolutely.
You got to produce the goods, I guess.
Yeah. But the mentals is a big thing that it's taught me out here, and just staying healthy where I can do this, because it's very easy to fall into, I think, different holes out here, and you don't realize it until you're way too deep, and you're like, oh shit, got to figure this out. But I think it's a struggle all of us go through out here, though.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah. But and then I think in the creative part of it, though, I think just how to capture somebody, how to capture the emotion of someone that is also like experiencing the same things we're all going through out here, but also going out there and performing every night, and being the life of the party out there, being the guy that's cranking getting the weed eater ready to go for Dan and Shay to walk out there and one crank it.
Yes.
And just they're ready to go. They're having a good time. Yeah.
Man, we've been having some good times too at night.
Absolutely.
But the one thing that people don't necessarily understand is that from the second we wake up to pretty much the second we go to bed, we're working.
Thinking about something.
We're editing, we're shooting, we're being ready to shoot something, getting photos, things ready.
Yeah.
That's did you think if it was going to be like that you were going to be constantly on the grind? Or do you think it was going to be like a show and out?
I would say like the grind is definitely.
You gonna cross through frame? Yes. Hey, that's on the road, baby. That would be Taylor, Jake Owen's drummer.
Sorry, where were we?
Life on the road, guys.
Life on the road. Working all day, the grind of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say yes. I think I kind of knew when accepting the job to tour in a school bus and go around the country that it wasn't going to be in any way easy. And it's still not. Even in a tour bus, it's not. It's very draining. But yeah, I don't know. It's a balance of it for sure. Figuring out your day, I think getting in a routine out here.
Routine is a big thing.
Routine's a big thing.
I found that health, working out, routine keeps you sharp.
Yes.
I don't even really sit still too much. I'm always kind of looking for the next place that I can drag Jake or move him to shoot. You know,
there's an art to that too.
Oh,
I feel like, and I don't want to say subconsciously moving somebody, but like kind of pulling someone to a certain area.
Yeah, you can.
And the shot setting itself up.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, heck, I've seen you do it too. I mean, seconds before they jump on stage, I'm like, hey, stand over here real quick.
Yeah.
I got a killer shot of Jake and his fiance and daughter side stage. It was amazing. Beautiful shot, just like seconds before them going out. So, would you, moving from tour now, one thing I would like to discuss for young content guys, you know, is taking the next step. Whether that is directing a music video or doing the album covers or almost taking over the whole account. Is that something that
Absolutely.
is even in your mind's eye at the moment?
Yes, absolutely. I've gotten very lucky in the single covers.
Sure.
Single covers, album covers world. Between Dylan, I think we have our first album cover coming in September together.
Congratulations.
Very excited. That's my first ever album cover. Like the whole vinyl, everything. Designed by me. I created the font for it. I feel massively connected to it.
That's
and
cool.
Just like everything that watching all the songs be written over the past 3 years has been incredible, and watching them all come to life in their own way. It's been awesome. But outside of that, been lucky in the single covers world, kind of things like that. Especially with Lainey, had a single cover with her.
Really?
Yeah, that's a wild story too.
Let's hear it.
So we were doing a show in Connecticut.
Lainey Wilson?
Yes, Miss Lainey Wilson. Amazing person.
Oh yeah.
Amazing human. But her team asked me to photograph a show for them. We were opening for her in Uncasville, Connecticut. It was her first ever arena show headlining, and I got to photograph that. I was in awe. I was like, "There's no way." I was 22 at the time, and I was like, "There's no way this is real."
Really?
I was like, "This is one of the biggest."
Was it a
stars.
stage or backstage or lifestyle?
Yeah, full backstage, everything. But it was mainly just show. She had a videographer there, but that was really it. And went out there, got a photo of her playing. She plays an electric guitar and says "Heart Like a Truck" on the back. Got a photo of her playing that. And at the time, I kind of hate the photo now.
Sure.
Not even gonna lie. But at the time, I was big into pulling saturations out of backgrounds.
Okay.
That was my fixation at the time. I've kind of moved away from that. I feel like it takes away from the photo sometimes.
Sure.
And the depth of it. But this one, it was loved the tones on her, but then the background was this royal blue.
Ooh.
And I was like, But the smoke was cool.
Okay.
The haze behind her was all it was bubbling up. It was cool. It had some textures in it. So I dropped the saturation out of it. Didn't think anything of it. Sent it over. And they posted, did their thing. And on my dad's birthday, it came out. I didn't know until a day or two later. I looked at it, September 8th, 2023.
Cool.
Yeah, last year. And I was like, there's no way. But I believe it was up for a Grammy nomination, so they had to single it. So
Okay.
that's how it came out. I was still up there. I'm like, why? But here we are. I'm very thankful for
That's
it.
cool.
It's
That's
awesome
cool.
moment for her. But yeah, and I love that world though, and the single covers, album covers,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun, and it's something different for me, especially starting in live music and still being there. Like, it's kind of a branch out.
What do you think is the most challenging part of going from the two styles?
So on stage, it's a lot of the variable lighting. Like, certain moments, lights are gonna hit.
Yep.
Big light moment, you can drop your settings a little bit so it'll pop good. But like out there, it's like lining up a shot, getting it right. A stage, how the lights are gonna work, where it's coming from, spotlights, etc. It's a production.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go out and almost every single photo I've taken for Dylan like that has been just out in the woods somewhere, out finding a cool fence somewhere, like something unique, and then filling him in there.
Yeah, that's the difference is
yeah,
that
it's-
when you're out on tour,
Yes.
generally you are documenting the circus. You are following along. You are at the current
Yeah,
of the tour,
which is the beauty of it. Yes, and just being here,
much
being in
easier.
it, yes, 100%.
But then when you go and do an album cover, it
It's-
requires you
Yeah.
to take charge. Out here, you're not. Well, I'm trying to show you to take charge,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
Slow
yeah,
it
yeah.
down, pull him when he's off stage, come back here and shoot. But it's a form of that.
yeah, absolutely.
But on an album cover or a music video where you are the one in the hot seat.
Yeah.
Everyone's looking at you for the advice. That to me is where I feel most content creators coming from the tour side to the more production
Yes.
side is that they don't know the ins and outs or the methodology of a production
Yes.
and how to lead the production. Out here you're being led
Yes.
for the most part.
and I mean, you follow, you can. Yeah, I agree 100%.
To me, and that's why the paychecks will be different. When you are when the boss is looking to you for guidance, it requires more versus the other.
Absolutely.
So I would think that should be some form of a step.
Yes, and it's a
for
large.
you.
It's a big bridge to cross there.
Sure.
It's a large step, I think, especially as someone young like myself. It's terrifying
Yeah.
sometimes. You look at it, and you're like, and you get a little like, is this what I'm supposed to do? Like,
Yes.
the
Now, do you
self-doubt
feel
comes in.
that terrifying, overwhelming feeling? Is that because you're coming up through the YouTube DIY, do it all myself? I got to go do the drone op. I got to go do this. So therefore, I got to go be proficient in all
Yeah.
these things. That would stress me the hell out.
It stresses me out 100%.
But that's not the reality of it
100%.
per se. You got to get there, but I mean, I don't sit at the keyboards. I'm not coloring. My photo world,
Yeah.
yes, I do all my photo.
Yeah.
But once I get into the motion side of my work, it's very compartmentalized. Obviously, with my leadership at
Yes.
the top. And knowing all of those roles, I tell people all the time, like an editor or a colorist, hell, a producer, an AD, I don't care who it is. I'm giving you just enough rope to keep moving, go get inspired. But the second I don't like it, I'll yank on that rope back. And so
100%.
I feel like that's been one of my strengths as a director. And I say that all because of someone young coming up into trying to get to that space. It's really, again, I'm probably say it ad nauseum, but slowing it all down and really observing. You might be thinking you want to be a director, but you might because you're
Who knows?
you're shooting video out here and finding moments, coloring yourself, photo. Hell, you might find in a year from now you want to be a DP.
100%.
You know,
who knows?
Yeah, I don't want to deal with all the political mumbo jumbo of being a director, where I just want to be visual.
Mm-hmm.
Has DPing ever crossed your mind? Or
it
any
has.
Of that stuff?
I think the struggle for me comes in taking the pressure of trying to learn all of those things, and like
I think a lot
trying
of
to being the all around guy, and it's hard to focus on one thing like and become very good, rather than a jack of all trades in it all, which I think it's
jack of all trades is not necessarily the move I would want to be known for in this business.
Yeah.
I feel like you'll just get run through.
It's exactly.
You know what I mean? We need this now. Can you do a fly that
photo and video and this and socials and
vertical, horizontal, everything is used. You know, I'm going through that. I'm going through that.
It's frustrating, 100%.
You know,
it's a frustrating thing.
I don't know where.
Where were we again? Sorry.
No, man. What's been the funnest part of this tour for you so far?
Funnest part of this tour?
Anything.
I'd say the funnest part of this tour has been the people, genuinely. I think there's some awesome, amazing people out here, and it's a blessing to be out here working with them day in, day out.
It could suck to be out here and just be like, I mean, there's so much time.
Yes.
And if you didn't like the people all around you, it's not just the people in your camp.
Yeah, it's everyone.
Everyone.
And I think it shows how nice Dan and Shay truly are, like as humans, as people. And I believe it's a top-down thing.
Oh, for sure.
And it starts with them, and they treat the people below them great, and it continues down all the way to us with the.
Well, I didn't know Dylan up until this tour, and I didn't know Dan and Shay. Dan just walked by a second. He's always running and working out and stuff. But I've been hanging out with Dan, forming a nice friendship, and of course I've been photographing Shay on the golf course and with Jake, and man, the hazing and the shit talking on the golf course is amazing.
Dylan, I need to get out there with Dylan.
Yeah.
Like
Dylan knocks the shit out of that ball, by the way.
Yeah.
He comes out of his
shoe in like a year or so.
He comes out of his shoe on the drives. He's
Goodness.
full. Oh yeah, the sound of it's pretty fucking.
Yeah, I haven't played golf with him in a while. We did a bunch of golf stuff like right when I first started with him, and then kind of went out touring. We didn't do it on the road for that long or that much, but he's getting back into it out here, and he's loving it.
Yeah, he's not doing too bad now.
I know we've had some like unfortunate situations where I wanted to. I'm like, dang it, we got to fly in, but they're already on the course, and it's
because you to get to the like even last night, Dan and Shay had to leave right after 2 hours early to get to the golf. We got 2 hours later.
Yeah. We got here at like 9:15 this morning, and I think they started at 9. So Dylan was like going to go out to the course this morning and cutting or anything. So yeah.
What advice would you be giving to someone like coming up through something you've learned that you feel could help someone?
Keep going.
Persistence.
I think we've all had those moments where you're like, am I supposed to be in this? Like, you go through I remember my first winter in Nashville. I was broke as shit. And I remember being there and I was like, damn. I was like, is this really it? I was like, I didn't make shit for money this past year. I was like, is this really where I need to be? And then I was like, what else am I going to do? Am I going to go back to Chick-fil-A?
Sure.
No. I was like, I dropped out of college. I have no other choice. We're doing this. I was like, we're in this. I made this decision. Like, I love this. I want to do this. Let's go.
Do you have a fear?
Fear of failure, I think.
Fear of failure.
And I think that comes from, just wanting to, seeing my parents and, wanting to not fall short, I think, of some, I don't want to say expectations, so to speak, My mom's amazing, and she supports me through all of this and has been amazing. I hate that my dad hasn't been able to see me like do this, but there's things that happen, like the Laney cover, getting to shoot Dan and Shay on the day that he passed in Toronto.
Wow.
That was incredible. Like little things like that. It's like, okay, I'm very spiritual. I believe there's a whole lot more going on here.
Me too.
But yeah,
Me too, very much.
that stuff. Yeah, and I mean, you go through those phases,
Yeah.
but then there's days like today where it's blue skies, beautiful, sunny.
It's a good day.
Yeah, it's a good day.
Um,
But yeah, keep going. Keep doing
going
it.
is a
Even
good
in
one.
those dark moments when you're like, I don't know, like you failed to shoot. You went in, nothing came out how you wanted it.
Sure.
Um,
Do you struggle with? Do you feel like the business side, or are you still are you in tune with the business side of the industry, or are you still just kind of more consumed in the creative space and where you fit in? Because that sometimes worries me, because people go so headstrong in the creative, and they're being kind of
yes.
lured by
Oh
this
my gosh.
carrot in front of you, going,
Yes.
I want the carrot, I want the carrot. But all along, time is passing, and you're really possibly missing out on opportunities, shortchanging your success,
100%.
underbidding. A lot of time it's underbidding because you just want it. You don't think the opportunity is going to come back
Or
again.
like you just don't know how much to charge for that type of work.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
I think
'cause
that's something I've run into, even in the touring work. Like, there's not like a set.
Well, let's talk
thing.
about it. That's what
Yeah.
this podcast is
Yeah,
for.
yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
usually the 30 minutes in is when the juice
Yeah.
kicks in anyway. So,
Yeah.
you know, money, what to charge, all of that stuff. It's a learning curve, but and it is a moving goalpost.
Yes.
It shouldn't change what you charge, but the artists you work for and the stature of those artists, you know, a billboard for Dan and Shay is different than a billboard for Dylan Marley.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And what you charge for that has to be
Representative
of that. And also it is indicative of your rate. You can't just it is kind of percentage-y.
Yes.
You know, you can't just be charging one thing for your day rate and then it's just an astronomical. It's all kind of in percentages.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people struggle
Yes.
with
I
this.
think it's just something people are afraid to talk about. I
Sure.
know I've definitely been there.
I'm not.
like
I'm not afraid to talk about any of this shit.
Yeah.
The thing is everything has a price. You know, and there is no menu. There's not a menu for this, but you have to know. Okay, hold up. Do I want what is my time worth to be out here for that day shooting X, Y, and Z? You can find that out from asking other people.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Then you get into this thing called usage, rights to photos. And what people don't understand is the rights to photos are in the favor of the photographer unless signed away.
Yep.
Okay? So if nothing was arranged in a contract or written form, it always errs in your favor, the photographer. That's why you'll see people in the business side of things freak out if there wasn't anything signed. Oh my God, how do we do?
Yeah.
You know, they run around because they know that the power is in the photographer's hands. That is not the case for video. Typically, you can. I mean, you can always do that, but I haven't.
Yeah.
Usually, as a director, you're a director for hire.
Yep.
But then you get into all these compartments: merch, advertising.
See, that's where I get lost.
And
is-
I get
is
hit
the
up
merch
a
stuff.
lot
Word.
on DMs from people saying, "Yo, can I get some advice? I feel like I'm getting screwed over." And 10 out of 10, they are.
I was gonna say, if you feel like you're getting screwed over, you're probably getting screwed over.
You are.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just being fair, and that you can still please all parties, but I feel young creatives don't know.
They don't know that that's possible.
To charge the talking points, merch, God. But here's what I'm saying: is you can also do a buyout.
Yeah.
Buy them all out. You never have to talk to me again, but you will write your check. You will write it. You will sign. They will remember you.
Yes.
Now, what you also can do is have your attorney have a quick little couple sentence thing explaining maybe what you want out of these said photos, and you can sign theirs and they sign yours. Everybody's happy.
Yeah.
Right? And it's an addendum.
I think that's where I get caught in situations sometimes where things move very fast. And it's like, I remember there's been multiple...
Slow.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It moves fast for them.
Yes.
It's a disadvantage for you. Well, you want it to be an advantage for you.
Absolutely.
And it's always an advantage. You can slow things down, breathe. Anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. But I found myself caught in situations where things are moving fast, and you're like, just got to get it done. They're like, we need this like today, and then it's like, all right, is there a contract? Like, what's going on? Like,
and you feel like you're holding up the process.
Yeah, and then you feel like you're holding up the entire creative process of whatever song it's behind, etc.
And is that your fault? Or is that someone else's fault on the administrative side of the artist
for not
that hasn't followed through with their work? Why are we?
It always falls into our laps.
Why do we feel the burden?
Yes.
Again, it's because of that carrot that's being dangled in front of us.
It's like, do you want this? Do you want this? Do you want this? This opportunity, this experience.
Yes. Yeah. My advice to all creatives is slow it down. Breathe.
Yeah.
Is this right? No. Hold on. You know what I've also found? I can proudly say this, having done 180 some videos, is every time I have gotten a contract, I get a contract for all my jobs, and there's a delivery date on that contract. Do you know that delivery date is superfluous almost every single time?
I did not.
It's superfluous to them, meaning if you for some reason don't miss your deadline, they're going to let you know it.
Yeah.
Do you know how many times they fuck it over?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then your pay and all of that gets dragged
for months and months and months and months.
Because they can't make up their mind. They can't get their group of people together to make a decision on an edit or whatever. The deadline gets pushed. Now we'll just push the deadline, no problem. Well, what's the point of the contract?
Absolutely. And then the song.
If I had to push,
if
I had to, I would be hearing about it. That's something that very much aggravates me.
Yes.
It doesn't happen necessarily as much anymore because I've worked these relationships, these situations out a bit with my clients. You know, you're just trying to work out the business thing, so it's just super flowy. But man, those new ones that come in, or the ones that you work for a label for the first or second time, you're like, I don't know if this is. I have a good amount of labels.
Have you heard of people doing this recently? This is something I've heard of, and kind of taking the labels out of it. And I've heard of some content creators and directors, media companies, just signing artists to them, like as their own label, saying, "Hey, we're the people that they call for content anyways. If you come to us, we'll manage you, make sure like your content, you don't get them involved. Like, we understand you're not radio, like if it's not a radio sound kind of deal, like." Like, what are they going to do? Sign you and shelve you? Like, come to us. We'll blow you up. You'll be selling out shows.
So the labels are doing everything in-house?
So it's basically taking the major labels out.
Okay.
Taking those Sonys, those Universals.
Yes, management.
That are out. Yeah, and just like a management company with with a content crew behind it.
I have seen that. Yes, it's happened. I mean, to be honest with you, record labels are doing similar things too.
Yeah.
Where they're getting these directors to just new cats coming up, and they'll do it for, a T-shirt and a hot dog.
Yeah.
And the person that's the labels are happy because they are able now to not run into folks like me who, they say, yeah, we got a $50,000 budget. Yeah, but I'm not buying a purse. Mm-hmm. It's not exactly the price tag you want it to be. It's $54,000. It's $51,000. I don't know, but it ain't gonna be 50 on the nose.
Yeah.
I don't understand that logic with the amount of moving parts.
There's so much.
Exactly.
So much.
So, I mean,
but yes, I don't know. It's a weird world we're entering. I think we're entering a new space.
you just got to be strong.
Yes.
Stay
confident in your work.
Yeah, there's so many different people coming and going.
Yeah.
And, even a guy like me who's been in the business for so long, these new cats that are coming up are some of these, fresh graduates out of college.
Yeah.
What?
I know. I often think about if I had gone to like a film school situation, like how I would view this all differently. And part of me is thankful that I didn't, because I like how I view it. I don't know. I feel like it provides an entirely different perspective than someone.
In what way?
And I think sometimes we get caught in trying to replicate something. Like we see something that's happened, and we know how that was done. And it's like, okay, we can just go do that again. And rather than knowing, okay, I know how to operate this, how to operate this, how to operate this. And now how can I take my knowledge of the things that I know and then create something new with that, rather than sitting back and just replicating what's already been done with it. And I think that I don't know completely about film schools. I may be completely wrong on this.
Sure.
But I think there's a bit of uniqueness in not doing something like that and just figuring it out.
Versus having the knowledge.
Versus sitting down in a classroom and kind of, I'm not sure if that's what film school is like.
Yeah, that's not really what film school is. I mean, you definitely have your theory classes, whatever. But really what it does is film school for me, I mean, again, you got to put yourself back at the dinosaur age. where we didn't have shoes and we walked barefooted. No. Film school was film.
Yes.
Film. So, film cameras, film mags, film product, all of that was very expensive if you didn't have a film school. I mean, do you own your own film camera? Probably not. So for me, film school was like access to all the gear, and it wasn't like, I mean, I would take apart film cameras and put them back and build them and learn how they work. Now, I mean, you kind of just shoot and expect you got what you see it. There was so much more going on to film school that you had to learn.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
It was very expensive if you tried to go out on your own and do it. And many did, and they succeeded.
Yes.
And that was the bar, because not everybody could do it. Here now, you can go make some entertaining things with an iPhone.
With a literal iPhone.
With an iPhone. Everybody's like, oh, should we get the black magic for it and this and that? I'm like, nah, we'll get the iPhone.
Yeah.
And keep doing it.
Which I think is gnarly.
I didn't think I was going to have so much fun.
It's incredible.
Going from the big here's the thing. Sure, shooting video on the iPhone, these shows, everybody's like, it looks great, da-da-da-da. Can I notice the difference from all the other cameras I use? Of course, of course. But you know what that camera does? There's two things that you can't deny about it that I'm having fun with.
Yes.
One is how fast I can get ready to shoot something in a moment where maybe if I'm shooting photo and something's about to happen behind me or something's around me, I can just grab it, hit one button, and I'm ready to go in it. The second thing the most important thing that I think by having that phone, I'm getting unique footage, it's unalarming. It's very unassuming camera, and anybody who's around it gets like, yeah, what's up?
Yeah,
I mean, you get a candidness that I didn't get from the bigger cameras, you know. So for me, just manhandling that thing and just putting it in spaces that I normally wouldn't, or me being in spaces that I couldn't fit because now I can with that is more or less what I've been doing.
The portability of it is astonishing. Genuinely, it's tiny.
I'm probably pissing a lot of people off by doing it. But
doing it different.
But you got to tell me I haven't shot with the big cameras?
Yeah, exactly.
Come on. So I figure it was only the right thing to do is to go completely the other direction.
And I think that's something as well. Like it shows you don't have to have a massive camera out here to create something cool.
No.
With a little iPhone.
Little iPhone, just a little Leica, and I'm cruising around this place where no one really even, they just slither around.
Yeah.
You know? Do you have, has there been any discoveries for you shooting video? You said you're just kind of getting into it. Is that pushing you to want to shoot it more, or is it kind of making you go towards your comfort zone of photo?
A little bit of both. There's like, I want to.
I gotta come home. I gotta come back with some good shit.
Yeah, it's like
I'm gonna shoot some photos.
I gotta get some photos and stuff for Dylan because Dylan loves the photos.
That's awesome. He does,
which I'm thankful for. There's some. I love that he understands. There's something about the moment and capturing it and the action of it and the just pureness of it, so to speak. Simplicity of it, yes. Like it's not something wildly obscure. It's very straightforward, I think, sometimes.
Yeah.
But you can make it obscure if you want.
I was asked, do you prefer photo or video? And I mean, it's always both for me. But man, I can honestly say, when I nail a good photo, it's just I look at it more often. I can hang it, frame it, send it to my friend. You know, there just seems to be more use out of it 100%. For me that I can cherish than the video. Hell, just the other night, last night, Jake was playing something of a Yellowwolf video I did with Shooter. I forgot. He played it in front of everybody. Make Me a Believer video, and man, I'm like, oh my god, I forgot. Yeah, you know that video. So that's kind of nice too, where you forget something you've done, you get back into it.
Yes, I'll see photos sometimes, and I'm like, dang, I was like, we got that one. Nailed that one there.
What's your favorite kind of photo to shoot, since you love photo?
I feel like that's a loaded question.
It is a loaded question.
Favorite kind of photo?
Well, what I mean,
I guess
it's a loaded question. That's a stupid question, maybe, because like for me, I would say my favorite kind of photo is when a plan comes together.
Yes.
And I kind of arrange it to happen in a spot, but I don't over direct it.
Yes.
And I'm just trying to catch lightning in a bottle in my little radius.
We were talking about this the other day, and setting yourself up to be lucky.
Yeah, exactly.
And that I think that might be the most rewarding one. It's like when you think it through, you're there, you're messing with stuff. One thing doesn't work, kind of float around, let's take a step back, look at it again, and then something happens.
For sure. And that's also, that'll gear you up. Like all my Morgans and all those things, all the album covers, that's what they are.
Yeah.
It's just kind of I like this background. I mean, Morgan's over there doing something, and I'm like, yeah, this is cool. And then I'm planning of what I want it to be. And then I go over to him, and I say, hey, Morgan, let's come over here and play over here. And that's it.
Yeah.
You know, if he figures out what to do, I'm snapping. But then if he's not doing something I want, I'll kind of talk to him and get it. And when I get it, I get it.
Yeah.
You know?
That's where I struggle sometimes, I think, is the talking part of that.
For sure.
Because there's a beauty in the moment being the moment. And I never want to be like forcing my ego onto it or anything. I
wouldn't say it's your ego. It would be focusing your knowledge and your style, though.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't. I mean, like, what if Dylan's doing something and you get the greatest shot, right? The light's perfect and he's doing his thing and maybe his head's down. And you're like,
but it's just
his head's down. And all you got to do is be like, Dylan, kick, and it's just that, boom. You don't know if it's gonna be a look that way or a look that way. But you know this probably isn't going to be.
It's not working. Yeah.
You know, and hat on, whatever. You can inject. You know, didn't you do something? Where were we with all the stripes and the circle backstage? You know, and all the lines?
Yes. So we
definitely had to put that somewhere.
So we were in Charleston. Yeah. I love that shot. That's one of my favorite shots.
And it's backstage, so he must have been getting ready to go on.
Yeah, we were playing the tennis stadium there in South Carolina. I was sitting kind of like right by the front of the stage, and because the light was coming in from this way, and it was like super dark behind him, and it's just like couldn't get the shadows right. So I came up front, and the light was coming in. He was lined up right on the crosshair in that bottom third of it, and there's this massive tennis ball coming across, but it was like framed in the concrete of the wall with these stripes. And I saw it, and I was like, there it is. I had my little Fuji, and love that thing. That's my budget version of the Leica.
There you go. There you go.
But snapped it, and yeah, it's one of my favorites. But another one, kind of a lightning in the bottle moment for me was the bus door photo of him coming off the bus door recently. Because I was messing around with the mirrors. That window had been open all day. I noticed it, and I was like, okay, the light is coming in cool off of this. If I open up the front window here, you're getting the reflection off the mirror, and it gives a little more. And I was trying to shoot from the mirror, but I didn't have a polarizer. Mad reflections on the window. And I was like, okay. I went to take a step back, and as I took a step back, Dylan came off the bus, put the camera up right there.
See,
you could have perfect.
You're about to overthink it.
Exactly.
You're overthinking it, and
but taking
the moment of pressure,
second, boom. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
And but yes, I think those photos they're special.
Oh yeah.
You know, and it captures so much emotion in that. I think he's coming off the bus and he's so focused, locked in. Dylan loves to get in a headspace before a show where he's not thinking. He wants to blast music, get out of his head.
That's cool. That's cool.
And just get in there. So I love his face coming in off of that. It's just he's locked in, ready to go.
That's cool.
I love it.
The other morning I walked into catering.
Yes.
And you had your computer, right? Remember you said, "Man, I'm over Premiere.
Yeah.
I'm learning Da Vinci."
Yeah.
I'm like, there you go. That's the move.
Which I'm loving my experience with Da Vinci so far. I feel like I can pull way more out of it than I ever have been in Premiere. I don't know. It feels much more user friendly.
Sure.
But still figuring it out.
Is technology something you struggle with, or that you actively go attack?
I'd say it's something I struggle with, but it's something I understand is a part of everything we do.
Sure.
And we have to learn it. We have to stay up with it.
Yeah.
Like I this past year I dug into Photoshop pretty hard. I found myself doing the single covers and stuff, and I was like, I kind of like this. Like I kind of like the design stuff. That's another avenue is like graphic design.
For sure.
Oh my goodness, there's so many ways you can go into that, and posters, all that stuff. Illustrator, all those things. But I dug into Photoshop pretty hard, and I've dabbled with Premiere over and over and over again, and it's just never worked for me. So made the
In what
DaVinci
way?
switch.
You said it changes all your renders, right?
The exports.
Your exports get all jacked or something?
I've messed with exports over and over and over, and colors just don't match. It comes out slightly flat.
Dude, I noticed
depth in it.
when you render out or something to be darker, and I know some of my editing buddies have said the same thing, and they've moved over to DaVinci.
I was one of the things I was reading about DaVinci is like the true colors on export of what you're seeing. That was one of the major points I noticed when I was looking into, like, okay, do I want to switch? Because I put it off for months.
Yeah, because now it's a on top of something that you're already kind of insecure about. You said at the beginning of this.
Yeah.
Now you're learning
entirely
a new tool.
I think it's given me a little bit of a new confidence there with it.
Yeah, because I agree.
You like what you're putting out, and you're like, okay, I want to keep doing this. I like this is something I'm enjoying. Like I'm
Start
enjoying
fresh on it too. You have a whole new bag.
A whole new bag of tricks and things you can pull out and all that. Yes, 100%.
Have you dabbled in a lot of cameras and things?
No. So I got the Fuji recently. I love it. That has opened up a whole another creative world for me, I think.
The Fuji?
Yes, because it doesn't feel like work.
Sure, it's just point and shoot.
Yeah, I pick up my my Sony, and I know what it can do. I know how I can manipulate it to get what I need, and get results, and get the shots the label needs or whatever. But then when it comes to the creative stuff, like the Fuji, it feels so much more manual, and like,
that's funny.
I'm thinking about it. It's creative. I can carry it around everywhere. Yeah.
I was telling Jake the other day. He goes, I go, man, I'm shooting a lot of Leicas, and a lot of them are black and white. I go, but I've been shooting on the R5. I just don't feel like pulling the files off of it right now.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm having so much fun with the Leicas. I'm kind of like, if I need to resort to what I got on the R5, I will.
Yeah. Did you ever see yourself touring with mainly a Leica and an iPhone? Was that a moment like you were like, we're really out here with an iPhone and
I think it was it was a little
because that's like two different worlds.
Yeah.
Two completely.
It made sense to me, but it's been somewhat. At first, it was a little humbling, being out there on the riser, with a little iPhone shooting. But again, you're shooting with a lot of intent, so you look really hyper focused with this little iPhone. And I'm like, oh my god, everybody must think I'm so weird.
I think watching you do it with such confidence that I wouldn't even think twice about it. You'd be like, oh, he's doing that on an iPhone. That's sick. Like. And I mean, the results show, I think, and what y'all have been putting out.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Well, I've got now 3 Leicas, a Canon, an iPhone. So we got 5 cameras with 5 different batteries, 2 different lenses on. I mean, there's so. I have cameras left and right side stage. I've left. Many crew guys have seen me sprinting back after the show is over. Dan and Shay's world is being put in. It's about to go off. I'm at the bus hanging out with Jake. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, dear God. I left the 7200 sitting out there. Yeah. I'm running. I don't see it. Yes. And I'm looking all around. It's being moved on someone else's cart.
Yes.
That's been gear management has been my biggest
It's a struggle out here.
Thing.
There's so many moving parts, and like you're thinking about so many different things, and I'm like, oh crap, my bag. Like, I'm just carrying around my camera, doing my thing, following Dylan around, and then I'm like, my bag is all the way across the venue. Now I gotta go find that.
I mean, feeling weighed down. I'm also kind of like, I've got it now down to where I've got my straps. I've got 3 Leicas and a thing, so I know now which one.
Yeah.
If it's in the center, I know I'm pulling. If it's to the right, I know what I'm pulling in the left.
See,
It's
I end up in a weird struggle place because I hate straps. When I'm shooting,
this is the way. Like,
yes, I'm like,
yeah.
I want to be in that with my camera, not worried about what's hanging off of me. Whatever. Yeah. It puts, like, I've tried it. And I've tried with multiple cameras on me, and it's like hitting my leg, and I'm like trying to find the shot, and it's doom. I'm like, golly, I can't go downstairs. It's like hitting everything.
Or you jump over the barricade, and your camera, your other camera smacks into the thing. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I carry one camera on me at a time. That's been my thing. Unless it's my Fuji around my neck, and it's so small, I don't even really realize it.
But you wouldn't bring any cameras and stash them on left and right just in case you need to pull and do different?
I try to find a space back center for my bag every night, so I can get from both sides easy. But these stages every night, how it's set up, I found stage right works way better for me, and getting in and out. It's so
stage
much
right.
the space.
Yeah.
Stage left, the monitor world's always, you're hopping over cables and dipping behind boxes.
Yeah. It's all strategy.
Yeah. So, and I mean, I think getting out there, these massive venues, something that people don't do, I think sometimes is get out there and see it. Yeah.
I mean,
and just
when there's not a lot, when, you know, I'm a big fan of this, and you can tell the shots feel different when you have a word I use a lot is proximity.
Yes.
When you invade, when you get into that proximity, you're not a paparazzi.
Yes.
You are meant to be there. You are in the inner circle. That's a moment when and you have to step in front of 25,000 people. By the way, you got to get out there and just shut them out. Shoot. Don't worry about them. Lock in.
Mm-hmm.
Those are fun.
Oh yeah, there's something about that too. You don't realize you're in front of 20,000 people until you take your eyes off your camera for about 3 seconds and you look up and you're like,
oh yeah,
that's a lot of people.
Dude. Do you have any questions that we always talk? Okay. If you have anything you want to throw back at me?
My gosh.
I've been asking you a ton of shit.
I'd say, okay, looking back now on your insane career, was there a moment you came out of something and you're like, we fucking did it. That's fucking it. Like, this is, boom. Like, when was that for you?
Are you talking about a specific job, or when I knew I was not, I didn't have to?
Both. Like, I guess, when was the moment you were like, okay, I'm where I need to be?
Yeah.
And number two, I guess, we freaking did it. Like, I guess there's one that's earlier than another.
Sure.
Usually.
Starting out, it took almost 10 years or so before I even realized that I'm officially doing this. Mm-hmm. Might have been a little less. I was always scared at the beginning of the career that it was going to be taken away from me, or I was only as good as my last job, and therefore if I didn't do a great last job, and even then when I finished a job, even if it was a big video, $500,000 video, I didn't sometimes feel like I knew where my next job was going to be. Mm-hmm. When I did Good Charlotte, the anthem, and we did a making of the video on MTV. Mm-hmm. I felt, and that video popped off. I mean, really big.
That's an insane.
That was a big one.
We listen to it, I think, every night.
Yeah, and I really injected a lot of cool. That was when I realized I'm going to be a lifestyle director.
Okay.
Like I get the lifestyle of pop punk of that time.
Yes.
And as you can see me with all these artists, I'm very personal and they all know me. So I think that was that video really turned the dial for me to say, this is it.
We're here, yeah.
And it quickly was followed by me going to New Zealand not too long after it to do Girls and Boys
Heck yeah.
for them, which was only adding on to that, you know? As far as a video that I was like, oh, you did it. You really made that. Believe it or not, it was late in the career.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Eminem and Yellow Wolf, Best Friend.
Word? Yeah.
Because leading up to that video, Yellow Wolf had really put himself out there and told Marshall and Paul Rosenberg, look, this is my guy. This is it. If we have any issues with this, let's let it be known. But he and I, me and Wolf, have a plan, and they just said go with it. So I felt like there was a lot of pressure on that. And of course, it's Marshall Mathers, Eminem, and Paul Rosenberg. You know, I mean, it's like it's a thing. And it was Eminem had a long verse, and I had almost 2 months of coming up with an idea.
Yeah.
And it was such a abstract song that Best Friend was. I wasn't coming up with an idea, but I knew the job was mine. I wrote a treatment that was kind of vague.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the treatment was. To be honest with you, I didn't know. Then I go to Detroit to shoot the video, and I mean this with every ounce of truth. Not one person on the set, in the post, in production, to production company had I ever worked with before. Now you got to imagine, I've already been directing how many jobs up to that point? I have a team of people that know how to work with me from post to producing to ADs to whomever.
Yeah.
And they wanted me to come in and use a team that had worked with Marshall and worked in Detroit and all that stuff. Well, I'm not going to argue that.
Yeah.
Sure, let's go.
Make it happen, yeah.
So you can see us building. And even when we got on set, you know, it was a one-day shoot. 1 day with Eminem and Yellow Wolf.
That's unreal.
And Marshall really wanted to see every single take that he shot. So what does that mean? Shoot, walk back, watch, laugh, talk, get him to come back. You know what I mean? It's a 20-minute deal every time you want to roll a 4-minute song. So my day is going chewing up. Chewing up.
Flying,
to the point of where when we do a company move is when you take your entire production and leave a location and move it to another location.
Yeah.
That in and of itself
is a whole
wrapping it all up, getting everybody in their cars and moving 30 minutes away. We got to the cemetery and we had like 30 minutes of ordnance where you can have these big lights up in the air. At 30 minutes, we had to scrap those, and we can light from the floor. A cemetery at night with fog lit from the floor with a wolf? What? I have 30 minutes to do all this? So, long and the short. Oh, and then the turnaround time. I flew from Detroit to L.A., to only have the job to turn around and be on air 5 days. So, all that to be said, add up all of that ingredient
of everything happening there,
and the star power and everything involved.
Wow.
The video came out better than I had imagined because I didn't have a supersonic idea in mind. The visuals were there. And the idea was there, but I didn't really know how I was going to do it. Also added to which, I was in a hotel in Detroit and watching day after day almost every single interview of Eminem. So I kind of felt like, even though I had worked with him much earlier in my career as a teenager, or 19, teenager, I wanted to there's a big gap.
Yeah.
And I wanted to have this confidence going into it. When I saw him, I felt like I knew him, you know? All that to be said, the video came out really cool. It's got like 200 and some odd million views. And so
there you go.
And I love Yellow Wolf, of course. Eminem is like my generational icon.
Yes, I mean,
so to me, I put that one very high on my pedestal of like, yeah, that came out cool.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned LA. When was the move to Nashville for you?
Nashville. That's a great question.
When
No
was
one
that
ever asked
decision?
that.
Like,
sick question.
And what went into that?
Yeah, Napster. I know that sounds weird, but I had just done like a $600,000 video for Duran Duran.
Heck yeah.
And not long after that, a couple months, you know, no jobs were coming in my agents, and the next one was like $100,000. Like, what? How am I going from 600,000 to 100,000? And it was Napster and technology, and it all started to shift. But I got a director, a really awesome director named Sean Silva, who owns Tackle Box. He's done all the Kenny Chesney videos, Rascal Flatts. He's a great director. Jason Aldean. Anyway, he was signed to the same production company I was in L.A. for rock videos. He had stopped by my set when he visited from Nashville to L.A. And he's like, yo, you would kill it with all your rock world in Nashville. And I kept that in my mind. And then I met this girl from Knoxville. And, a couple months later, I'm in Nashville. It was the best decision of my life.
Heck yeah.
But I say all that not to be romanticized. I left thinking, if I'm done with this business, I'm done with this business. Something must have been, I must have been A, in love with my wife, and B, over it. And you take the two, and then you move in LA, you know, a Southern California boy, to Nashville.
Yeah.
Something was up with me. You know what I mean? Something was, I just needed a new thing.
100%.
I got right in with Aldean. Like, I mean, I literally he was the first artist I started working with there. And sure enough, why? Because he loves Shinedown, Breaking Benjamin. He loves all the rock videos.
I feel like he was one of the guys that kind of brought the rock in the country too. I remember those early Jason. Oh my gosh,
absolutely was.
Being from Georgia, that was a staple in my childhood growing up, was Jason Aldean. So,
sure, I did his Relentless video and My Kind of Party, which My Kind of Party was late. Even that shot that 16 millimeter, and that was during I think that was probably high red era. But that's, Nashville, that's how I moved. Because Nashville was still, CMT was popping, GAC was popping, artists were still making videos.
Yes.
Listeners were still buying CDs, when at that time, the LA west side of the world, of the States, was already into iPods and all that. But, you know, the South was still buying CDs, going to the lake.
Yes.
Boomboxing it. And it was, I mean, I know it sounds really like, really? Yes.
100.
It was a little behind.
I've always heard that Nashville's a few years behind.
That's it.
It's always a few years behind LA.
And I mean, again,
in the weirdest ways.
Having Jason Aldean to kind of bring you in.
What a guy to come in with too.
What's
the country.
that?
What a guy to come into the country world with. Like,
but you know, to be said, to be known, I sought him out. We were in Oklahoma on the drive to Nashville to move. And I was in a Texas Roadhouse or something, and I saw Amarillo Sky on the TV. I hit my agent up. I'm like, I need to meet with this guy. And, 2-3 weeks or something, I was at his farm.
There you go.
Just hanging. We were off and running. So I definitely feel like I
I also love that new photo you have of Jason. That's unreal.
Yeah. To shoot, that was fun. To go back and I hadn't been on tour with him The last time I did a full tour was with him in 2012.
God, was that stadium?
That was Luke Bryan. No, that was the same as what we're doing here. And then I did the media tour with him on a private jet to market the baseball stadium tour.
Yeah.
But to see him and to hang out and to I don't know, it was about a week before we jumped on the road here.
We talked about that first. Yeah.
It was fun, man. I mean, I even know that my style and my eye is much more honed in now than it was with him even.
Yeah.
I think it was just because I had done a lot of rock tours and a lot of that stuff, and country was
It's a different touring world.
Yeah.
I've never done a rock
different
tour.
stuff on stage, different things.
Absolutely.
I had to work around that, figure that out.
Yes. Country, people want it to look pretty, you know? Rock, you can get nasty with it.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, get up in there.
Yeah.
But, like,
I still get nasty with it.
Yeah. I love doing, like, the underground, like, pop punk stuff and, like, hardcore stuff sometimes. Just because you get in there, and it's just what it is. There's no covering up around it.
No.
It's the moment.
Yeah, I've done the pop punk, and then that moved right into like to use the kind of the more pop punk that with a little more edge.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I kind of draw a blur with all the bands.
No, yeah. Yeah, no, Dylan's kind of leaning into this pop punk thing.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And like I've been unknowingly studying your videos for the past year or so since you kind of started leaning into this, and then here we are now, and it's like I don't have to worry about trying to pick things apart anymore.
Yeah, I can
just come straight to the source.
Get you the source.
Yeah.
I know a lot of what made those looks the way they were. This film, gotta be honest, you know, film, and it's not like you see people shooting film now, or not, certain people, like a Nick Allen, if you ever want to research DPs, he's a DP that's shooting film the way we shot film back then. And I don't mean like running around a parking lot with a film camera saying I shot film. No. Lighting and stylizing a film shoot is what those videos were.
Yeah.
And with film, unlike these digital cameras, you really had to pound light. So, you know, all this light was right here on you. So if you have all this light right here, can you move? And then over there, I got negative on you, right? I got a negative.
Yeah.
So you right where that pillow is, I got a negative. Well, now you're supposed to rock out and move. Well, I can't move with you, right? And you can't move. So that's where that style came from. You understand?
Yeah.
Lock the camera off on a baby sticks or on a hi-hat. Walk away. Go sit in your chair. The guitarist will entertain.
Yeah.
He has a radius and he goes. It's a different thing. You see,
Absolutely.
with the advent of digital and you can clear. I think I talked about it in the last podcast. You can see it very much in my work from the film days, which is what I just described.
Yes.
And now look at my what is it? HD video stuff. It's very playful.
Yeah.
It's a lot of movement. It's earthy. It's handheld. It's human, where the other stuff wasn't. You know. But one thing I will say, and I've said this before, but you touched on it. I don't have a timer out here to know how long we've been out here, but
for a minute,
but we've had a guy playing basketball. We've had Dan and Shay's production manager making phone calls. We got someone doing deadlifts in here. Rock and roll, guys. I forget what I was gonna say. What were we talking? What was I?
I guess pop punk videos into your work now.
Oh hell,
Playful creative now.
Yeah, it's just it's different in how you execute and what you can do, and by having your cameras being so, I don't know, dynamic.
Yes, 100%. The dynamic range of a digital versus film is insane.
It's changed production in the sense of you're not micro lighting as much as you are saying we have to. Now you can get more. I hate the word. Content to fill your edit. right? You can be a little looser. Yeah, I see it in car ads all the time.
Yeah.
Car ads, my God. You used to be super slow.
Yes.
You get X amount of shots in a day, pounding with light, overpowering the sun so the car looks good or the truck looks good. Now,
There's,
I mean,
sending
bro,
it.
you're sending it with just, the Alexa and going to town, and it's just, you have so much dynamic range. You can bring the highlights down, bring the shadows up, good to go.
Yeah,
There's not
exactly.
many pings of light hitting the car. Put a polarizer on, you're good to go.
You're literally golden, yeah.
It's fun
So-
that way.
Yeah.
I mean, you have anything else? I don't know.
I don't know. I feel
It's been
good.
fun chatting.
Yeah, I know. This is. I love
This was a bit of a trial run to see
Yeah,
if
see if this
I
works.
can do this without my support team with microphones. I don't even know if are working, but I've had a blast chatting with you, man.
We're out here.
Yeah,
In the trenches out here.
we are in the trenches. Well, good luck tonight getting all those photos. I want to see video in your hand.
Yes.
Let's shoot some video.
Yes, video
I'm gonna
tonight.
come behind you actually for these
All right.
clips, and I'm gonna shoot iPhone video,
All right.
and I'm gonna trail behind you probably tonight
Let's do it.
with you shooting Dylan.
Let's do it.
All right, bub.
Heck yeah.
Love you.